Hello friends, welcome back to my YouTube channel Miss IS Officer. In this video, I present my IGNOU assignment of MEC-108 Economics of Social Sector and Environment. The front page of IGNOU assignment, you can download that from IGNOU website or from Google. Then second page will be of your ID card. You can download it from IGNOU website. Then the third page will be IGNOU assignment question paper. Uh, you can download it from IGNOU website. So this is the question paper of IGNOU assignment MEC 108. I attached it in my assignment, and then start my assignment. Question 1: in the context of future time preference, hence discuss the importance of discounting of cost and benefit flows. Then I start my answer. Future time preference refers to the tendency of individual to prefer immediate rewards over delayed rewards. It is critical concept in the economics and decision making. In this context, the discounting of cost and benefit flows in an essential consideration for decision makers. Discounting is the process of reducing the value of future cost and benefits by a specific rate to account for the time value of money. The importance of discounting cost and benefit flows can be understood from several perspectives. Firstly, it is essential to acknowledge that the value of money changes over time due to inflation, interest rates, and other factors. Thus, a dollar received today is worth more than a dollar received in the future. Discounting helps account for this by reducing the value of future cost and benefits to reflect their diminished worth in the present. Secondly, discounting is crucial for decision making because it enables individuals to compare the cost and benefits of different projects and policies that may have different time horizons. For example, if a company considering investing in a new project that will generate returns over 10-year period, it needs to compare the future benefits of the project that with the cost incurred today. Discounting the future benefits and costs enables the company to compare the project's net present value with other investment opportunities that have different time horizons. Thirdly, discounting is critical in environmental and social decision making, social policy decisions. Many environmental policies, such as those aimed at reducing carbon emission and or preserving natural resources, have cost benefits that extend well into the future. Similarly, social policies that address issues such as poverty, education, healthcare can have long-term impacts on society. Discounting future costs and benefits that enables policymakers to evaluate the effectiveness of these policies and compare them with other policy options. Fourthly, discounting is also crucial in personal financial decision making. For example, when individuals consider whether to save or spend their money, they need to consider the future benefits of saving, such as the interest earned and future cost of spending, such as missed investment opportunities. Discounting helps individuals to make informed decisions by allowing them to compare the present value of future costs and benefits. Finally, discounting is essential in the evaluation of risk and uncertainty. Future costs and benefits are uncertain. Discounting helps individuals account for this uncertainty by adjusting the discount rate based on perceived level of risk. For example, a project with high uncertainty and risk may have higher discount rate than a project with lower risk. However, discounting cost and benefit flows have some limitations and criticism. Firstly, it is subjective as different individuals may have different time preferences and discount rates. Thus, the choice of discount rates can significantly affect the evaluation of projects and policies. Secondly, discounting may not accurately reflect the true value of future costs and benefits, especially in case where the costs and benefits are not directly monetized. For example, the value of preserving a natural habitat may be, may be challenging to quantify and may not accurately reflect the value of the habitat. Thirdly, discounting may not be suitable for evaluating policies and projects that have nonlinear benefits or cost. For example, a policy that has long-term benefits may not have same discount rate as a policy with short-term benefits. In conclusion, the discounting of cost and benefit flows is an essential consideration for decision makers in discounting helps individuals evaluate that the net present value of projects or policies enables them to compare cost and benefits of different options that have different time horizons. However, discounting has limitation and criticism that need to be considered when using it to evaluate projects and policies. Ultimately, decision makers should use discounting as one of many tools to evaluate cost and benefits of different options and make informed decisions that count for the present value and future value of money. Then our next question is uh, instituting regulations in the healthcare insurance sector. In what ways the issue of government failure assumes importance? Discuss. Government failure is a situation when government's intervention in the market fails to improve the market outcomes, resulting in inefficiency, negative externalities, unintended consequences. In healthcare insurance sector, the issue of government failure is the utmost importance as it can significantly affect the availability, affordability, and quality of healthcare services for people. The healthcare insurance sector is highly regulated industry where the government plays a vital role in ensuring that the insurance companies provide comprehensive coverage, protect consumer rights and cost controls. However, the government intervention in the market can lead to unintended consequences such as adverse selection, moral hazard, increased administrative cost, which can result in higher premium, lower quality of care, and decreased access to healthcare services. Adverse selection is the phenomena when the high risk individuals are more likely to buy insurance, while low risk individuals opt out, leading to a pool of insured people with higher average risk, which increases the cost of insurance premiums. For example, the government may require insurance companies to cover pre existing conditions, which can attract individuals with higher healthcare needs to buy insurance, resulting with higher premiums for everyone. Moral hazard is a situation when insured individuals overuse healthcare services, knowing that they do not have to bear the full cost, leading to unnecessary tests, treatments, procedures, which increases the overall cost of healthcare. For example, the government may require insurance companies to cover preventive care services, which can lead to increased utilization of services even if they do not result in better health outcomes. Increased administrative costs are another unintended consequences of government intervention in the healthcare insurance sector, which can result from the regulation, reporting requirements, and compliance costs imposed on insurance companies. These costs can be passed on to consumers in the form of higher premiums, deductibles, copays, making healthcare less affordable. To mitigate these unintended consequences of government intervention in the healthcare insurance sector, policymakers must carefully design and implement regulations that balance the competing interests of consumers and issuers and providers. Some of the strategies that policymakers can adopt to minimize government failure include: first, targeted subsidy. Instead of mandating insurance companies to cover all healthcare services, policymakers can provide targeted subsidies to low income individuals, which can make insurance more affordable and reduce risk of adverse selection. Second, risk adjustment mechanism. To adverse selection policy address adverse selection, policymakers can implement risk adjustment mechanism, which can transfer funds low risk to high risk insurance pools, thus stabilizing premiums and ensuring that issuers do not avoid high risk individuals. Third, cost sharing incentives. Policymakers can design cost sharing incentives such as copays and deductibles, which can encourage insured individuals to use healthcare services more efficiently and avoid unnecessary treatments and procedures. Fourth, simplification of regulations. Policymakers can simplify the regulations and reporting requirements imposed on insurance companies, which can reduce administrative costs and make healthcare more affordable. In conclusion, the issue of government failure is of critical importance in the healthcare insurance sector. It can significantly affect the availability, affordability, and quality of healthcare services for the people. Policymakers must carefully design and implement regulations that balance the competing interests of consumers, issuers, and providers while minimizing unintended consequences such as adverse selection, moral hazard, and increased administrative costs. By doing so, policymakers can ensure that the healthcare insurance sector functions efficiently, providing high quality care at an affordable cost of all. Then our then we start section B. Question number 3. Outline the multi-factor extension approach in the context of rate of return to education. Multi-factor extension (MFE) approach is a methodology used in economics to measure the rate of return to education. This approach seeks to analyze the factors that impact the returns on education beyond traditional factors like level of education, wages, and employment. MFA approach aims to incorporate various other factors like labor market conditions, individual characteristics, and socio-economic factors. This approach is helpful in understanding the nuance of labor market and determining the overall impact of education on economic outcomes. MFA approach involves the use of regression analysis to estimate the rate of return to education. The analysis involves the estimation of several variables that could potentially impact the returns to education. These variables include age, gender, ethnicity, family background, occupation, industry, geographical location, and other socioeconomic factors. MFA approach considers both the direct and indirect effects of education on earnings. Direct effects of education on earning is the impact of increased skills and knowledge on labor productivity. Indirect effects of education on earnings is the impact of education on acquisition of other skills and attributes that enhance an individual's productivity in labor market. The MFA approach also considers the potential interaction between education and other factors such as gender, ethnicity, and social background. For example, studies have shown that women tend to have a lower return on investment in education compared to men, and this is partly due to labor market discrimination and unequal distribution of domestic responsibilities. One limitation of the MFA approach is that it relies on data that may not capture all relevant variables that impact the returns to education. For example, factors like cognitive abilities, personal traits, status, and may also impact the returns to education, but these variables are difficult to measure and incorporate in the analysis. Another limitation of the MFE approach is that it assumes a linear relationship between education and earnings, which may not always be the case. In some cases, there may be a threshold level of education beyond which additional education may not significantly impact earnings. In conclusion, MFA approach is a useful methodology for measuring the rate of return to education. This approach considers various factors beyond the traditional factors and allows for a more nuanced understanding of the impact of education on economic outcomes. However, the approach also has some limitation that should be considered when interpreting the result. Then our fourth question is discuss the argument behind the efficiency wage hypothesis in health sector. The efficiency of wage hypothesis is a theory that suggests that paying workers higher wages than the market equilibrium can lead to increased productivity and overall economic efficiency. This theory has been applied to many sectors, including health sector. In the health sector, the efficiency wage hypothesis argues that paying health care workers higher wages than the market equilibrium can lead to more efficient and effective healthcare system. There are several reasons why this might be the case. Firstly, healthcare workers who are paid more may be more motivated and committed to their work, leading to higher level of job satisfaction and lower rates of turnover. This can help to reduce cost associated with recruiting and training new staffs, and can also lead to improved continuity of care for patients. Secondly, higher wages may attract more highly qualified and experienced healthcare workers to the profession. This can lead to improved quality of care for patients as well as increased innovation and development in healthcare practices and technologies. Finally, paying healthcare workers higher wages may reduce the risk of corruption and other unethical practices in the sector. If workers are paid a fair wage, they may be less likely to engage in behaviors such as taking bribes and kickbacks in exchange for providing substandard care. Despite these potential benefits, there are also potential drawbacks to implementing the efficiency wage hypothesis in the health sector. Higher wages may lead to increased cost for healthcare providers, which could ultimately be passed onto the patients in the form of higher healthcare cost. Additionally, it may be difficult to determine what constitutes a fair wage for healthcare workers, as this will depend on the variety of factors such as the cost of living and prevailing wages in a given region. Overall, efficiency wage hypothesis is an intriguing idea that has been applied to many different sectors including health sector. While there are potential benefits to paying healthcare workers higher wages, it is important to carefully consider the potential cost and trade-offs of doing so before implementing this strategy. Then our fifth question is, explain the portfolio balance equation in the context of non-renewable resources. The portfolio balance equation is a tool used to analyze the optimal allocation of investment in a portfolio to achieve the desired level of risk and return. In the context of non renewable resources, this equation can be used to determine the optimal mix of investment in various non renewable resources to maximize returns and minimizing risk. The equation can be expressed as follows: R equals W1 R1 plus W2 R2 plus Wn Rn, where R is the expected return on portfolio, W is the weighted or proportion of each investment in the portfolio, R is the expected return on each investment. In the context of non-renewable resources, the equation can be applied to the portfolio of investment in various non-renewable resources such as oil, gas, coal, and other minerals. The goal is to determine the optimal mix of these investments to maximize returns while minimizing risk. There are several factors to consider when determining the optimal mix of investment in renewable resources. One factor is the expected return on investment. For example, oil may have a higher expected return than coal due to higher demand and limited supply. However, oil may also have a higher level of risk due to geopolitical factors, price volatility, and environmental concerns. Other factors to consider are in the correlation and investments. For example, investment in oil and gas may be positively correlated as they are both fossil fuels, while investment in coal and renewable energy may be negatively correlated as they are competing source of energy. Portfolio balance equation can help to determine the optimal mix of investment by taking into account these factors and balancing the expected return with the low level of risk. A portfolio with a higher expected return may also have a higher level of risk, while a portfolio with lower expected return may have lower level of risk. In addition to the portfolio balance equation, other factors such as the depletion of non-renewable resources and environmental concerns and changing market dynamics must also be considered when investing in non-renewable resources. These factors can impact the expected return and level of risk of investment in non renewable resources and must be carefully evaluated. In conclusion, the portfolio balance equation is a useful tool for determining the optimal mix of investment in non renewable resources to maximize returns while minimizing risk. However, it must be used in conjunction with other factors and considerations to ensure a sustainable and responsible approach to investing in non-renewable resources. Our second last question is, distinguish between the context of weak sustainability and strong sustainability. The concept of weak and strong sustainability refers to two different approaches of environmental sustainability. The idea of sustainability is to meet the needs of present without compromising the ability of future generation to meet their own needs. The two approaches differ in their interpretation of this definition and how it can be achieved. Weak sustainability suggests that natural capital can be substituted by other forms of capital, such as human made and social capital. According to this approach, economic growth can continue as long as total stock of capital, including natural capital, remains constant. Weak sustainability acknowledges the importance of the environment but does not consider it as a fundamental condition for economic development. This view suggests that economic growth is more important than environmental conservation. Many environmental conservation and any environmental damages caused by economic growth can be repaired through technological innovations. On the other hand, strong sustainability argues that natural capital is irreplaceable and therefore cannot be substituted by other forms of capital. According to this view, economic growth cannot continue indefinitely indefinitely as it is dependent on the natural resources that are finite. The concept of strong sustainability implies that the economic system must respect the ecological limits of the planet and be based on the principle of conservation, preservation, and restoration of natural resources. This view suggests that environmental conservation is a fundamental condition for sustainable development and should be given priority over economic growth. The primary difference between these two concepts is their approach to natural capital. Weak sustainability suggests that natural capital can be substituted by other forms of capital, whereas strong sustainability natural consider natural capital as an essential and irreplaceable. The two approaches also differ in their understanding of the relationship between economic growth and environmental conservation. Weak sustainability suggests that economic growth is more important than environmental conservation, whereas strong sustainability suggests that economic growth must respect the ecological limits of the planet and prioritize environmental conservation. In conclusion, the concept of weak and strong sustainability differ in their approach to environmental sustainability. Weak sustainability suggests economic growth can continue as long as total stock of capital remains constant, whereas strong sustainability argues that economic growth must respect the ecological limits of the planet and prioritize environmental conservation. Two approaches have significant implications for policy making and require careful consideration in long term impacts of economic activities on the environment. Then our last question is seventh question. Write a note on IP18 and KAYA identities. IP80 and KAYA identities are two important concepts that are used in environmental studies to understand the impact of human activities on the environment. Both identities are used to explain the relationship between population growth, economic development, and environmental degradation. In this note, we will discuss IP80 and Kaya identities and their relevance in environmental studies. IP80 identity was introduced by ecologist Paul Ehrlich in 1971. It states that environmental impact of human activities is the product of three factors: population, affluence, technology. According to this identity, the impact on the environment is directly proportional to the population size, the level of consumption or affluence, and the efficiency of technology used to meet the needs of population. In other words, an increase in population or consumption level or decrease in technology efficiency will result in higher environmental impact. The IPAT identity can be expressed in this term. It is useful tool to understand the causes and effects of environmental problems such as climate change, deforestation, pollution. The identity suggests that to reduce the environmental impact of human activities, one or more of the three factors must be reduced or controlled. For example, reducing population growth through family planning, reducing consumption through sustainable lifestyle, increasing technological efficiency through renewable energy, and cleaner production methods. The Kaya identity is another important concept of environmental studies, which was developed by the Japanese economist Yoshikaya in 1993. It is similar to the IPAT identity but includes two additional factors: energy intensity and carbon intensity. Kaya identity states that carbon dioxide emission are a function of four factors: population, GDP, per capita, energy intensity, and carbon intensity. The identity can be expressed in this term. Kaya identity is useful in understanding the relationship between economic growth, energy consumption, and carbon emissions. It suggests that to reduce carbon emissions, one or more of the four factors must be reduced or controlled. For example, reducing population growth, promoting sustainable economic development, improving energy efficiency, and reducing carbon intensity through renewable energy and lower carbon technology. In conclusion, IPAT and Kaya identities are two important concepts of environmental studies that helps us to understand the impact of human activity on the environment. IPAT identity focus on the relationship between population growth, affluence, technology, while Kaya identity adds energy intensity and carbon intensity as additional factors. Both identities suggest that to reduce environmental impact, we need to address multiple factors simultaneously, including population growth, economic development, energy consumption, and technological efficiency. By understanding these identities, we can develop effective policies and strategies to achieve sustainable development and mitigate environmental problems. Here our question number 7 was done and assignment is done. So in the end of the assignment, I add one extra page for the remarks of the examiner, so that he or she can give me remarks on my assignment. So uh, I will suggest you to add it in your assignment also. And thanks for watching the video. Please subscribe my channel, follow me on Instagram. The username of Instagram, my Instagram ID is missiasofficer, same as my YouTube handler. And if you need this assignment PDF, just text me on my Instagram ID. I will send it to you there. So thank you for watching the video.